Students, welcome to the next chapter of the manufacturing processes, that is metal cutting lathe. So, to understand the in detail lathe machine, let us understand first of all the working principle of the lathe machine. So in the case of lathe machine, there are main two important parts. First one is the workpiece which we want to machine, and the second one, that is the tool which helps us to remove the material from the workpiece. So in normal cases, in the case of lathe machine, as you can see here, workpiece is rotating or revolving about certain axis, whereas here the tool is fed toward the workpiece, or else it may be moved in linear direction away from the workpiece or towards the workpiece. So these are the basic motions required to carry out the machining operation in the case of lathe machine. So again, in the case of lathe machine, workpiece is revolving about certain axis, whereas the tool is held in the tool post and it is fixed rigidly in the tool post, and this tool is given movement in particular parallel direction, or it may be moved at certain inclination of the machining surface available. So the main function of the lathe machine, that is the to remove the material from the workpiece and give it a desired shape and size. And here material removed is in the form of the chips. So this is the basic detail about the lathe machine. So in market there are different types of lathe machines are available, so from which we will discuss about these certain types of lathe machine. And these lathe machines are available in varieties of parts. So the first one, that is the bench lathe. So in the case of the bench lathe, the main important part of the lathe machine, that are maybe a headstock, tailstock. So these parts are set over the bench available and that are fixed rigidly over the bench. And here the movement required is given by means of the hand. And that's why this is the first most lathe machine developed, and here again I am repeating, the movement given is by means of the hand. So as all the parts are fixed on the bench in this particular type of the lathe machine, that's why it is called as the bench lathe. Now the second one, that is the speed lathe. So in the case of speed lathe, the parts available are same to that of the bench lathe, but here the speed is provided or the movement is provided to the workpiece by providing a certain motor. So here the large speed variation can be obtained from very minor RPM to the very large RPM. So if we say the RPM, it may be from 400 RPM up to 3000 RPM. That means the large speed variation can be given to this particular type of lathe machine, and that's why this lathe machine is called as the speed lathe. So the another one and the most widely used nowadays, that is the engine lathe. So in engine lathe, the major parts, that are the headstock, tailstock, tool post, lead screw, all these parts are available, and other than these, many different attachments are also provided to this particular lathe machine to carry out the different machining operation. So in this particular lathe machine, taper turning can also be done. So there are different varieties of operations that can be performed in this engine lathe, and that we will discuss in our further lectures. So there are different varieties of engine lathes are also available, so from which the power transmitted to the main workpiece, that are by means of different variations. So for that, the first one, that is the belt driven lathe. Here the power is transmitted from motor to the particular workpiece by using the belt and drive assembly. The second one, that is the individual motor driven lathe. So from the name you can easily understand, individual motor is provided to give a certain motion to the workpiece. And the last one, that is the gearhead lathe. That means here different gearbox or gear mechanism is provided to provide a different movement to the workpiece, and the speed variation can easily be obtained in these three different variations. So these are the main three different types of engine lathe available in the market. Now the next one, that is the tool room lathe. This tool room lathe is similar to the engine lathe, but the main variation is that these tool room lathe are available in very large size, and this lathe machine can perform almost similar operation to that of the engine lathe. So these tool room lathe are available in specific designs, and this lathe can also be used to provide a certain machining operation to the very large available component. Now the next lathe machine available, that is the capstan and turret lathe. So up to now we have discussed about the many different types of bench lathe available, and in all these type of lathe machine there is only a single tool available to perform machining operation. Now to perform another machining operation we need to change the tool, and it require a time, and due to this particular time machining cost is also increases. So there are different, some of the disadvantages are also there. So to overcome that disadvantage of changing the tool, another lathe machine available, that is the capstan and turret lathe. And in this capstan and turret lathe, turret head is available, which consists of the many different available tools, and just by revolving that turret head one can change many different of tools as per requirement. So this is the advantage of this capstan and turret lathe, in which multiple tools can be adjusted in the tool head. And about this particular lathe machine we will also discuss in our future lectures. Now the next lathe machine available, that is the automatic lathe. So this automatic lathe is nothing but the simple example of the CNC machine. So in these basic movements, that is the rotary movement of the workpiece, now the parallel movement or the inclined movement of the tool post, these all movements are given by particular coding, and here all the movements are adjusted automatically, and that's why this lathe machine is called as the automatic lathe. And the next one, that is the special purpose lathe machine. So these are the lathe machine which are required to produce a important component available. It may be a different components of the jet engines, or maybe the different components that are required a very precise movement, or the very precise surface is required for specific application. So there are different types of lathe machines are available to carry out a specific operation, and that's why these lathe machines are called as the special purpose lathe machine. So the basic first name that is of the lathe machine is T lathe. So in this, the movement obtained, that is in the parallel direction or it may be in a perpendicular direction, these movements can be easily obtained, and these lathe machines are used to generate a specific component from the workpiece. So these are the different types of lathe machines are available, and in future we will discuss the major important machine, that is the engine lathe, because these engine lathe comprise of the main important parts available in each and every type of the lathe machine. So I hope you got the clarity about the different types of lathe machines available and how these lathe machines are developed day by day. Now, as we have discussed, these lathe machines are available in different varieties of the sizes. So these lathe machines are designed based on the different size of the lathe machine, and this lathe machine can be understood by the different size of the lathe machine, and that we will discuss now. So there are different size of the lathe machines are available. So first of all, from this simple figure let us understand the main important parts of the lathe machine. So look over here, this particular part is called as the head stock, and this headstock consists of the main motor driving mechanism. Similarly, it consists of the spindle which holds the workpiece very rigidly. Similarly, on the opposite side, the part available, this part is called as the tail stock, and this tail stock consists of the basic simple spindle available which helps to hold the maybe a different centers, or maybe a drilling tools for proper machining operations. And here you can see this first tip portion is called as the live center, and this another part that is available at the tailstock, it is called as the dead center. And this particular portion is called as the carriage, which consists of the almost all the parts available to provide a movement to the tool, and the tool post is also available over this carriage. Now these are the legs of the lathe machine. So these are the basic simple parts available in the lathe machine. Now here you can see the major important part again. First one is the headstock, second one is the tailstock, third one is carriage, and the leg of the lathe machine, which provides supports to the entire lathe machine. So now we will understand how this lathe machine can be understood by the different size, or how this can be designed. So here the first one, that is the height of the centers. So here you can see that these are the centers. So the height of the center from the base, based on which the lathe machine can be designed. The second one, that is the length between the centers. So here you can see that based on the length available between the centers, how long workpiece can be held in the lathe machine, that we can understand. So based on the different length available between the headstock and this tailstock, about its extreme position, based on that also this lathe machine can be designed. So this is the another part, that is the length between centers helps us to understand the size of the lathe. Now the next one, that is the length of the bed. So here from the end portion, length of bed can be understood. So the how long the lathe machines is available, that can be understood from the particular length of the bed. And there are different varieties of the lathe machines are available based on the variation of this length of the bed. Now the next one, that is the swing diameter of the bed. So here you can understand easily. Look over here, from the tip of the centers up to the bed end, how much diameter of the workpiece can be held between these centers, this can be understood by the swing diameter of the bed. That means how the diameter of the workpiece that can be adjusted in this lathe machine, that we can understand from the swing diameter of the bed. So how long a component, or how much length of the diameter of that particular workpiece that can be held in this lathe machine, that is understood by the swing diameter of the bed. Similarly, one can also understand based on the swing diameter over carriage. That means over here, this is the carriage. So here, how much amount of the diameter of the workpiece that can be adjusted in this particular lathe machine, that can also be understood by means of the swing diameter over the carriage. That means the diameter of the workpiece that can be adjusted in the lathe machine, that can be understood by means of the two ways. First one is swing diameter over the bed, and second one is the swing diameter over the carriage. That gives the basic idea about the diameter of the workpiece that can be machined in that particular lathe machine. Now the next one, that is the maximum bar diameter. So how much amount of particular workpiece that can be adjusted in the lathe machine, that is understood by the maximum bar diameter. So over here you can see this is the spindle, and in this hollow spindle there are basic internal diameter of this spindle is available, and what is the internal diameter of the spindle. Based on that, the diameter of the workpiece can be fixed in that spindle. So based on the diameter of the spindle, maximum amount of the diameter of workpiece that can be adjusted we can understand from that particular area. So the internal diameter of the spindle helps us to understand the maximum bar diameter that can be adjusted in particular lathe machine. Now the next one, that is the spindle speed. So based on the motor provided to the particular headstock available, and based on it there are different spindle speed can be adjusted, and in market different spindle speed available based on the motor connected to the particular lathe machine and the basic weight of the lathe machine. So the spindle speed can be in the range of 400 to 3000 rpm based on the motor connected to the particular spindle section of the headstock. And the next one, that is the spindle nose diameter. Again, as we have discussed, based on the spindle nose diameter available, how much amount of the workpiece that can be adjusted in that particular spindle that we can see. So the maximum bar diameter is simply related to the spindle nose diameter. Now the next one, that is the lead screw pitch. So simply you just need to understand is that over here lead screw is available, and this lead screw connects this particular headstock to the carriage connection. So this lead screw helps us to provide automated movement to the tool based on the requirement during the thread cutting operation. So the pitch is simply nothing but the movement of the tool or the automatic movement of the tool during a single rotation of the lead screw. And about this we will discuss in detail during the thread cutting operation. And the last one, based on which the size of lathe machine that can be understood, that is the motor horsepower and the rpm. So how much horsepower of the motor is attached and what are the rpm that can be adjusted in the particular lathe machine, that also decides the size of the lathe machine. So these are the different variations available, that how this lathe machine can be designed and how this lathe machine can be adjusted based on the requirement. So in this particular lecture we have discussed about the working principle of lathe machine. Second one, that is the different types of lathe machine and how the size of lathe machine that can be understood by using the different parts connection available in that particular different types of lathe machine. So I hope you got the clarity about the basic details of this lathe machine, and we will continue about other topics in our next lecture. Up to then, thank you.